Welcome to the GetFluttered series, where we create modular, reusable samples for your Flutter projects. Many of these samples will make use of the Get package, purely because it's easy to use and eliminates a lot of boilerplate. But really, use any package you want. If any of you are interested in building Flutter apps for healthcare, join us on Slack and we can chat. Today we'll show a complex, healthcare-focused app and show how this fits within the MVC+S architecture. The Prapare survey is a scientifically derived, validated social determinants of health assessment tool that has been implemented successfully as a FHIR questionnaire. This survey is a 21-question questionnaire that has been translated into 26 different languages. For the app that we built, we took a lot of cues from the Prapare survey implementation guide, which is freely available on their website. A lot of the color schemes and icons used in our app draw inspiration or are sourced from this implementation guide. If you want to learn more about Prapare, I suggest going to their website. Here, you'll be able to find the questionnaire as well as the implementation guide. You can also find the Prapare questionnaire available as a JSON FHIR resource on Loinc's website, which is one of the resources we harnessed. On GitHub, we have a commit with the current and most active version of the Prapare questionnaire. In a future GetFluttered video, I plan to cover how we were able to use a Google spreadsheet to help manage all 26 language translations within our app. All of the content of our app is loaded as a FHIR resource within a JSON file. Though when we were making modifications, we found it was a lot easier to work with YAML, so we created a package to connect the two. When complete, all survey data are exported as FHIR resources, and specifically FHIR bundles, for interoperable use by any FHIR server that can accept it. So here are the various pages of the app as built. On the right is an Android phone, and on the left is an iPhone. You can click the settings page to decide on your language, as well as your theme, be it light mode, dark mode, or your system's default. There are 26 languages to choose from, and some languages will change your left to right orientation as defined by the locale. Any change to this language page will update all questions and answer choices, but they do not change the FHIR specifications on the backend. This way, no matter what the user sees, it remains interoperable. We have an info page at the top and available on first load. This page shows you various information about the app, Prapare, about Firefly as a collaborative, and a link to the various licenses, assets, and open source packages through which this app was built upon. If you click New Survey, you will see the questions that are available in the Prapare questionnaire loaded dynamically from their original FHIR resource. This is different for checkbox versus radio button questions. And if you select I choose not to answer, it will automatically cross off the answer choice. But it will also list the choice as a question that has been completed. Whenever you type in values into our app, the app will wait to debounce, meaning whenever you've stopped typing, it will check to validate if the answer choice is both valid and matches the format defined in the FHIR spec. If you click away or select enter if you have that option, the survey will close. Currently, this debounce and validate feature works for integers, decimals, and string values. Scrolling up and down on this survey will change how you view the bar on the top. Some questions allow for optional values that you can enter in and are only shown if that question is selected. When all required questions have been completed, a button shows up that allows you to submit your information to a FHIR server of choice. Note that optional questions do not have to be completed for this button to appear. Removing a required question will remove the submit button. But any required question can be declined, which will also trigger the submit floating action button to appear. If you switch languages in the middle of a questionnaire, all answer choices are updated to match the language of your question. Note that left-right changes will also update in real time to match the locale. Prapare follows the MVC+S architecture, and here's how. Check the link in the description for the blog post that explains each folder, subfolder, and description in more detail. A good example of when to use a component is when you need to make a modification of an existing Flutter widget. In our example, we needed to modify the tab height from 48 to 70, so we did that by building from the original tab widget. We stored the JSON and YAML variations of Prapare as a constant, but these data could also be dynamically loaded from a web server or similar external resource. Our utility class has a utils.dart file, which includes the relevant export files that are used throughout the app. Files who have similar functions are grouped together within a containing folder. And pay particular attention to your APIs. Unless they are a public API, you do not want them available inside your repo. To this end, we have API public.dart as the one exception to the rule of our git ignore for everything within this folder. There are a lot of other tricks you can do to keep your open source applications secure. Our controller folder contains both the controllers that are used throughout the app, including controllers that directly modify our questionnaire, and the various commands used within our application. Almost all of our commands build from the abstract command class. Our current exception is the command that launches custom URLs, which we have so that the UI doesn't have to directly call a service to launch a URL. The models folder contains the class objects that are specifically used for this app, as well as the custom data classes. Note that some of our custom data classes have a _data, whereas many of them do not. Overall, we felt this distinction was optional. The routes folder allows us to define route string names, set up custom data binding for each route, and set up custom transitions in a similar way. The services folder connects our app to the outside world. This may be a RESTful API call or a local database, and may be similarly grouped based on function. The UI folder contains a styled components folder, which is where UI elements that have the same general style are stored similarly. And the views folder contains the element that make each page unique. Icon asset names are all stored together. And if your app only utilizes one language, consider putting your strings here. I plan to cover localization as well as theming in separate videos, but this is how we connected our app to Google Sheets to get 26 languages. Finally, the themes.dart file is where we store all of our theme and settings data, including font, font size, color schemes, and light and dark modes. That's it for this video. My plan is to cover locales and themes next, but let me know in the comments which segments you want me to cover, and I'll make sure to prioritize them. Until then, stay safe out there.